How dare you assume I'm just a poor village girl? Emily snapped, her eyes blazing with defiance. The wealthy-looking man in front of her, Ethan, smiled faintly, hiding the secret he had carried all his life. Little did Emily know, the man she had just challenged was no ordinary man. He was the heir to a billion-dollar empire, and her life was about to change forever. Welcome to Story by TJ, where we bring you real stories about real people facing impossible choices. I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we dive into this incredible story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. The morning sun spilled over the dusty village, casting golden light on the narrow dirt paths that twisted between modest homes. Birds chirped lazily, and the distant hum of a motorbike echoed through the air. Emily Carter wiped the sweat from her brow as she carried a basket of fresh vegetables from the market to her small home. Life in Willow Creek had always been a struggle, but Emily had learned to find joy in the little things. A laugh with her sister Lily, the smell of bread baking at Mrs. Grace's stall, the sight of the river glinting in the sun. Her mother, Grace Carter, stood at the doorway, hands on her hips, scanning the street like a sentinel. Emily, you'll trip over something if you're not careful. You're always in such a hurry. Emily smiled, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. I'm fine, Mom. I just want to get these to the stall before the sun hits its peak. Despite their modest life, Emily carried herself with quiet dignity. She didn't need wealth to feel proud. Her self-respect was her crown. But little did she know, her life was about to take a turn she could never have imagined. The sound of an expensive car approaching startled her. She glanced up and froze. A sleek black sedan rolled down the dusty path, kicking up small clouds of sand. Out stepped a man, impeccably dressed, looking entirely out of place in the humble village. His sharp gaze scanned the surroundings, and when it landed on Emily, he paused. "Hey!" he called, voice smooth, almost teasing. "Do you know the way to the market?" Emily raised an eyebrow. "Ido." It's straight ahead, past the bakery. She noted the strange confidence in his tone, like he was used to being obeyed, even without trying. "I'm Ethan," he said, extending his hand. "I'm visiting, well, for a little while." Emily hesitated before shaking it. "Emily, welcome to Willow Creek, I guess." For a moment, the village seemed to shrink around them, the hum of daily life fading as they shared a fleeting glance. There was something about him, charming, disarming, yet distant, that made her curious. She didn't know that Ethan was hiding a secret bigger than the village itself, a fortune so massive it could change her life forever. "Careful with those baskets," Ethan said suddenly, nodding toward the vegetables she had just set down. His voice held a warmth that made Emily glance at him again, surprised. Most city people would never notice the little struggles of village life, but he did. A blush rose to her cheeks. "Thanks, I think." As the morning sun climbed higher, Emily went about her chores, but her thoughts kept drifting back to the mysterious stranger who seemed ordinary and yet not. The air between them was charged, a quiet tension that neither understood fully. And somewhere deep inside, Emily felt a flutter she hadn't felt before. A hint that life in Willow Creek would never be the same again. The midday sun beat down on Willow Creek, making the village market a hive of activity. Stalls overflowed with fresh vegetables, colorful fruits, and handmade crafts, while the chatter of villagers blended with the occasional honk of a motorbike passing by. Emily carefully arranged her remaining produce, wiping her hands on her apron, when she noticed a familiar figure near the entrance. Ethan. He was leaning casually against a stall, inspecting items with that same faint smile that had caught her attention earlier. When he spotted her, his eyes lit up, and he started walking toward her with surprising ease through the crowd. "Emily, fancy seeing you here," he said, his voice warm but carrying a playful undertone. Emily blinked, her cheeks warming slightly. "Ethan again. You're everywhere today." She laughed nervously, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "I could say the same about you," he replied, scanning the fruits she had neatly stacked. These look amazing. Do you sell them often? Yes, she said simply, shrugging. It's how my family manages. Some days are easier than others. She noticed a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. Do you come to markets like this often? Ethan's gaze softened. Not really, but today I wanted to see the village from a different perspective. And, apparently, I ran into the best guide. Emily raised an eyebrow, amused. Guide? I don't even know the area that well. He smiled, a little teasing. You're humble, but I can tell you know your way around. Besides, I like talking to people who are genuine. Not everyone here is, well, real. Something in his words struck Emily. Genuine. Rarely had anyone in her life called her that, especially someone who seemed so out of place in her simple world. Well, I'm glad I could be genuine for you, she said, a small smile tugging at her lips. They began walking slowly through the market together, Ethan occasionally pointing out small details. A spice she'd never tried, a fruit she hadn't seen before. Emily found herself laughing more than she had in weeks, drawn to the easy comfort of his presence. So, Ethan said suddenly, stopping near a stall selling handmade bracelets, what's your dream, Emily? If life wasn't about struggle, what would you do? Emily paused, thinking. Most people in Willow Creek didn't ask about dreams. They expected survival, not aspirations. I want to help my family live comfortably, she admitted softly. And maybe one day, I'd like to travel, see the world beyond Willow Creek. That's a lot, isn't it? Ethan shook his head. Not at all. It's brave. And I think you'll get there, Emily. You have this spark. People notice it. Her heart skipped a beat at the sincerity in his words. For a moment, the bustling market faded, leaving just the two of them in a quiet bubble of connection. Little did Emily know, Ethan's interest went far beyond casual curiosity. And little did she know, the life-changing secret he carried would soon collide with the dreams she was only beginning to admit to herself. The sun dipped lower over Willow Creek, casting long, golden shadows across the village. Emily had finished her chores for the day and was walking home along the dusty path when she heard a familiar voice calling her name. Emily, wait up! She turned to see Ethan jogging lightly to catch up, his casual smile as effortless as ever. He carried a small bag of fruit in one hand. I thought you might like some of these, he said, handing her a perfectly ripe mango. Emily hesitated, then smiled. Thank you. That's really kind of you. She bit into the mango, and the sweet juice made her eyes widen in delight. Wow, this is amazing. You have good taste. I could say the same about your selection at the market, he replied, laughing softly. I might need you to give me lessons one day. As they walked together toward the edge of the village, the conversation flowed naturally, like water over smooth stones. They talked about simple things. Favorite foods, childhood memories, the quiet places in the village where she liked to sit and watch the world go by. Emily found herself opening up, sharing small dreams she had never spoken aloud. Sometimes I imagine leaving the village, she confessed quietly. Seeing cities, tall buildings, people from all over, experiencing life beyond this little corner. Ethan nodded thoughtfully. That's not a bad dream at all. In fact, it's a good one. And you're the kind of person who could make it happen. Emily felt a warmth rise to her cheeks at his words. There was something different about him. Different from anyone she had ever met. He wasn't condescending or distant. He listened, he laughed at her jokes, and he seemed genuinely interested in her thoughts. As they reached a small clearing near the river, Ethan stopped. You know, he said, leaning casually against a tree, I'm really glad I ran into you today. I don't usually connect with people this easily. Emily blinked, caught off guard by the honesty in his tone. I feel the same, she admitted softly. For a long moment, they just stood there, watching the sunlight dance on the water. There was an unspoken understanding forming between them, a delicate thread weaving trust and curiosity. It was the beginning of something neither could fully name yet, a friendship that felt destined to grow into something more. Before parting ways, Ethan handed her a small notebook. I keep it for little thoughts and sketches. Maybe you can write your dreams in it? Sometimes it helps to see them on paper. Emily took it, her fingers brushing his briefly. I'll treasure it. Thank you, Ethan. He smiled, a spark of something deeper in his eyes. No, thank you, Emily, for reminding me that even in a small village, life can surprise you. As Ethan walked away, Emily clutched the notebook to her chest, a fluttering feeling she didn't quite understand rising in her stomach. The seeds of romance had been planted, and the gentle pull of fate was already guiding their paths toward one another. Little did she know, the life-changing secret Ethan carried would soon turn her world upside down and test the strength of this fragile, budding connection. The evening sky over Willow Creek was painted in shades of orange and pink, the soft glow reflecting on the calm river that wound through the village. Emily sat on the riverbank, her feet dangling above the water, the notebook Ethan had given her resting on her lap. She traced her fingers over its cover, remembering the warmth of his smile and the spark of curiosity in his eyes. Footsteps approached, soft on the dirt path. Hey, Emily, Ethan called, his voice casual but inviting. He joined her on the riverbank, sitting a comfortable distance away, careful not to crowd her. Hey, Emily replied, smiling. She opened the notebook, flipping through the first few pages. I started writing some dreams. Silly things, mostly. Let me see, Ethan said, leaning closer. She handed it to him, and he scanned the pages with genuine interest. There were sketches of cityscapes, notes about learning new skills, and plans for traveling beyond Willow Creek. These are amazing, he said quietly, handing the notebook back. You have vision, Emily. Most people never even think about their dreams. They just survive. You want more. Emily shrugged, a faint blush rising. I love this village, and I love my family, but I sometimes wonder if there's a bigger world out there for me. Ethan nodded thoughtfully. I know that feeling, and you should go for it. Dreams aren't meant to stay hidden. They're meant to guide us. They sat in companionable silence for a moment, listening to the gentle lapping of water against the riverbank. Emily felt a sense of calm around him, a trust she didn't give easily. What about you, Ethan? She asked finally, curiosity sparkling in her eyes. Do you have dreams? He hesitated, his gaze distant as if weighing how much to reveal. I want to do meaningful things to make a difference. But some of them aren't simple. Emily leaned in slightly, sensing the weight behind his words. You can tell me, I won't judge. A small, almost shy smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. All right, I want to travel, learn, and maybe help people in ways that matter. I want a life where I can be free of expectations, where I can choose my own path. Emily's heart stirred. I like that. Freedom. It's important. And you deserve it, Ethan. He looked at her then, his gaze steady, sincere. And you deserve all your dreams too, Emily. I hope I can be someone who encourages them, not just stands by and watches. A soft warmth spread through her chest. The air between them was charged with unspoken possibilities. This moment, small and quiet as it was, felt monumental. A turning point where friendship began evolving into something deeper. As the sun finally slipped below the horizon, Emily closed the notebook and looked at Ethan. Thank you for believing in me, even when I'm unsure of myself. Ethan smiled, brushing a loose strand of her hair behind her ear. Always, Emily. You've got a spark that deserves to shine. The river reflected the first stars of the night, twinkling as if to witness the silent promise forming between them. A bond that would grow, face challenges, and ultimately be tested in ways neither of them could yet imagine. The following morning, Emily walked through the village, the weight of her thoughts heavier than the basket of goods in her hands. Her conversation with Ethan last night had left her inspired, but reality quickly crept in. Life in Willow Creek was never easy, and her family's financial struggles had been mounting for weeks. Her mother had been worrying about bills, her younger sister Lily needed new school supplies, and the small vegetable stall barely brought in enough to cover necessities. As Emily approached the market, she noticed a familiar figure arguing with a vendor. It was Robert Carter, a wealthy farmer from the neighboring village. His voice was sharp, angry, clearly upset. Emily frowned. She had dealt with men like him before, the ones who thought their money gave them the right to belittle others. "Your produce isn't fresh enough. You can't sell this here," Robert shouted, pointing at a crate of tomatoes. The vendor, an elderly man, tried to protest, but Robert waved him off dismissively. Emily's hands clenched. She hated seeing anyone treated unfairly, especially hardworking people trying to make a living. "I can help," Emily called out before she could stop herself, stepping between Robert and the vendor. Robert turned, eyebrows raised. "And who are you? Another village girl trying to meddle?" Emily held his gaze, determination in her eyes. "I don't need to be wealthy to know right from wrong. Let the man sell what he's worked hard for. Your money doesn't make you better than anyone." Robert scoffed, clearly unaccustomed to being challenged. Bold words from someone barely scraping by. Before the argument could escalate, Ethan appeared, walking quickly through the crowd, his presence commanding attention despite his casual attire. "Robert," he said, calm but firm, "that's enough. You're being unreasonable." Robert blinked, surprised by the unexpected intervention. "And you are?" "This is Ethan," Emily introduced quickly, her cheeks flushed. He's just someone passing by, but he's right. Let the man sell his goods." Ethan's eyes met hers, a small, approving smile tugging at his lips. Sometimes people need to be reminded that decency doesn't come with a price tag. Robert, realizing he had been publicly corrected, muttered something under his breath and walked away, leaving the vendor and Emily standing in relieved silence. Emily exhaled, glancing at Ethan. "Thanks, I guess. I just get tired of seeing people treated unfairly." Ethan's gaze softened. "You have a good heart, Emily. That's rare. And it's one of the many reasons I admire you." Her cheeks warmed at his words, but the tension remained. As they continued walking through the market together, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that life in Willow Creek, combined with the challenges of family and societal expectations, would test her relationship with Ethan in ways she hadn't imagined. And Ethan, for his part, felt the first flicker of doubt about how much of his life he could reveal without overwhelming her. The bond between them was growing stronger, but the reality of their worlds, one humble, one secretly wealthy, was quietly waiting to challenge everything they were beginning to build. The late afternoon sun bathed the village in a warm golden glow as Emily walked along the quiet riverbank, notebook clutched in her hands. The events of the morning, the market confrontation, the shared laughter with Ethan, and the fluttering warmth in her chest, kept replaying in her mind. She hadn't realized how much she had come to rely on his presence until now. Footsteps approached, soft but purposeful. Emily looked up to see Ethan standing there, holding something small and neatly wrapped in his hands. His expression was serious yet tender, a mixture of nerves and certainty. "Emily," he began, his voice steady, "can we sit for a moment?" She nodded, her pulse quickening, and he guided her to a small grassy patch near the water. They sat side by side, the gentle sound of the river filling the silence between them. "I've been meaning to tell you something," Ethan said finally, taking a deep breath. He handed her the small package. "Open this." Curious, Emily untied the ribbon and lifted the lid. Inside was a delicate handmade bracelet, simple yet elegant, with a tiny charm shaped like a heart. She looked up at him, touched. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "I wanted to give you something that represents us," Ethan said, his eyes locked on hers. "Something simple yet meaningful. Something that reminds you that no matter where life takes us, I want to face it with you." Emily's heart fluttered. "Ethan, this is... You didn't have to." "I know," he interrupted gently. "But I wanted to. Emily, I know we come from different worlds, and I know life hasn't always been easy for you, but I also know what my heart wants. And my heart wants you. Not just for today, not just for tomorrow, but for everything that comes after." He took her hands in his, holding them firmly yet tenderly. Emily Carter, will you marry me? For a moment, Emily's mind went blank. The world seemed to narrow to the two of them, to the warmth in his hands, the sincerity in his eyes, and the way her heart thudded wildly in her chest. She thought of her family, her village, her dreams, and the unexpected yet undeniable bond she shared with Ethan. Yes, she said finally, her voice soft but unwavering. Yes, Ethan. I will marry you. Ethan's face lit up with a smile, his eyes glistening as he gently lifted her hands to his lips. You've made me the happiest man in the world, Emily. They sat together for a long while, letting the moment linger. Around them, the village seemed quieter, as if the world itself was pausing to honor this promise. The bracelet on her wrist gleamed in the fading sunlight, a small token of a love that was growing stronger every day. In that golden hour, Emily realized that love wasn't about wealth or status. It was about trust, connection, and courage. And with Ethan by her side, she felt ready to face whatever life had in store. Little did they know, their journey had only just begun, and the challenges ahead would test the strength of the bond they had just vowed to honor. The morning sun poured through the windows of Emily's small home, filling the room with a golden glow. Today was a special day. Not the wedding itself, but the preparations, the excitement, and the nervous energy that seemed to ripple through Willow Creek. Emily moved around briskly, arranging flowers, checking her outfit, and helping her younger sister Lily with last-minute errands. Emily, are you sure everything's ready? Lily asked, her eyes wide with anticipation. Mom's been running around like crazy, and you're running too. Don't forget to breathe. Emily laughed, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I know, Lily. I'm just excited. I can't believe this is actually happening. Her mother, Grace, came in carrying a basket of fresh flowers. It is happening, Emily, and everything will be perfect. Just remember, it's not the grandeur that matters. It's the love you share. Emily nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and nerves. She glanced at the small stack of invitations she had helped prepare and smiled. Soon, friends and family from neighboring villages would arrive to witness the union she and Ethan had chosen. Meanwhile, across the village, Ethan was at his modest family home, helping his parents prepare for the small gathering. Though he appeared ordinary to everyone around him, there were subtle hints of his hidden world. An envelope of important documents he tucked away discreetly, the careful way he handled gifts from distant acquaintances, and a quiet awareness of cameras and messages that others wouldn't even notice. When Emily arrived at Ethan's home to help coordinate, the two met in the courtyard, their eyes lighting up at the sight of each other. You look beautiful, Ethan said, a small smile tugging at his lips. Emily blushed. Thank you. You look good too, even if you're pretending to be normal. She nudged him playfully, and he chuckled, shaking his head. They spent the morning moving between tasks, arranging flowers, organizing tables, and making sure the small wedding tents were in place. Emily met Ethan's ordinary family, who were warm, welcoming, and genuinely excited about the wedding. They joked, shared stories, and made her feel like part of the family already. As Emily worked alongside Ethan, she noticed the little details he paid attention to, the precise placement of a chair, the careful adjustment of a tablecloth, the subtle way he made sure everyone was comfortable. She didn't realize it at the time, but these small gestures were a glimpse of the careful, meticulous side of him that came from a life far different than the one he had shown her. For now, though, it was just Emily and Ethan, two hearts intertwined in love and anticipation. The village buzzed with activity, the scent of flowers and freshly baked bread filling the air, and Emily felt a rush of happiness. Soon, they would stand before their friends and family, promising to face life together, unaware of the secrets and surprises that would soon test their bond. As she looked at Ethan, she thought to herself, this is it. This is the start of the life I've always dreamed of, even if I don't know everything about him yet. The village square was alive with energy. Vibrant banners swayed in the gentle breeze, and the scent of fresh flowers mingled with the aroma of baked goods from nearby stalls. Friends, family, and neighbors gathered, their faces glowing with excitement and warmth. Emily's heart raced as she stepped out of her home, dressed in a simple yet elegant white gown that shimmered in the sunlight. Her mother, Grace, brushed a tear from her cheek. "You look beautiful, Emily. Today marks the start of something wonderful." Emily smiled, her hands trembling slightly with a mix of nerves and excitement. "I hope it does, Mom. I really do." Across the square, Ethan stood with his family, looking every bit the humble man everyone assumed him to be. His gaze, however, was fixed solely on Emily. The crowd faded into the background as he saw her approaching, each step measured, graceful, and filled with anticipation. When Emily reached him, Ethan took her hands in his. "You look incredible," he whispered. "I can't believe this is real." Emily's eyes sparkled. "I can't believe it either. But it is. And I'm ready, Ethan. I'm ready for us." The ceremony began, simple yet heartfelt. The village elder spoke softly about love, commitment, and partnership, and Emily and Ethan listened intently, their fingers intertwined. Friends and family watched as the couple exchanged vows, their words sincere, emotional, and unshakably honest. "I promise to stand by you, through every joy and every challenge," Ethan said, his voice steady and filled with warmth. "I promise to honor, respect, and cherish you for all the days of our lives." Emily's voice quivered slightly as she responded, "I promise to love you, to support you, and to build a life together with honesty and kindness. Today, tomorrow, and always, I choose you." As they exchanged rings, a cheer went up from the crowd, the sound echoing through the village and blending with the gentle rustle of leaves and distant birdsong. It was a simple celebration, yet the love and joy radiating from the couple made it feel monumental. After the vows, they shared a quiet moment alone, away from the eyes of the crowd. Ethan brushed a strand of hair from Emily's face and smiled. "I've never felt more certain about anything in my life." Emily leaned into him, her heart full. "Me neither. I feel safe with you, Ethan. I feel like we can face anything together." The villagers celebrated with music, dancing, and laughter. Children ran through the square, couples clapped along to the rhythm of drums, and the smell of food from nearby stalls filled the air. Emily and Ethan, though surrounded by friends and family, remained focused on each other, sharing smiles, whispered words, and quiet moments of connection. As the sun dipped low in the sky, painting the village in warm hues, Emily couldn't help but think how much had changed in such a short time. She was now married to the man who had become her closest friend, confidant, and partner. Little did she know, the life ahead held surprises that would test her love, patience, and trust in ways she couldn't yet imagine. The morning sun streamed through the small windows of their modest home, casting warm light over the simple furnishings. Emily moved quietly, arranging breakfast on the table as Ethan sat nearby, reading a newspaper. The quiet rhythm of their new life together felt comforting, a gentle contrast to the excitement and chaos of the wedding. "This smells amazing," Ethan said, looking up and smiling. "You really outdid yourself, Emily." Emily blushed slightly. "It's nothing fancy, just eggs, bread, and some fruit." "It's perfect," he said sincerely. "Honestly, I don't need fancy. I just need this. You." Emily smiled, feeling warmth spread through her chest. Despite the simplicity of their life, she felt rich in ways she had never imagined. Loved, safe, and understood. As they ate, they talked quietly about their plans for the day. Ethan had suggested visiting the village center to meet a few neighbors who had helped with wedding preparations, and Emily agreed enthusiastically. After breakfast, as Emily tidied the kitchen, she noticed a sleek envelope tucked beneath a small stack of mail. She picked it up curiously and glanced at Ethan, who was humming softly by the window. "What's this?" she asked, holding it out. Ethan's smile faltered slightly. "Oh, just some paperwork from work. Nothing important for you." Emily frowned, sensing the subtle tension in his voice. She wanted to press, but she didn't want to make him uncomfortable. "All right, if you say so," she murmured, placing it back on the counter. Later, while walking through the village, Emily noticed how effortlessly Ethan interacted with everyone. People greeted him with respect, some even bowing slightly before speaking. She realized it wasn't just charm. It was a quiet authority, a presence that drew attention without demanding it. "Ethan, why does everyone act like that around you?" she asked curiously. He chuckled softly. "I guess people just trust me. Maybe it's because I like helping when I can. Nothing more than that." Emily nodded, still curious but choosing to let it go, for now. The little moments of intimacy, laughter, and shared chores were enough to make her feel connected to him. They spent the day together cooking, walking by the river, and laughing at each other's clumsy attempts at household tasks. That evening, as they sat side by side on their small porch, the village bathed in twilight, Emily rested her head on Ethan's shoulder. "I love this," she said softly. "Our life. It's simple, but it feels right." Ethan kissed her hair gently. "It is right. And I promise, no matter what happens, we'll face it together." Yet, beneath his calm words, Ethan carried the secret of his true identity, the billionaire life he had hidden to see the world from a simpler perspective. And though Emily didn't know it yet, the hints of this hidden world were already surfacing, quietly shaping the life they were beginning to build together. The days of their newlywed life had settled into a gentle rhythm, but Emily couldn't shake a growing sense of curiosity. Small things began to catch her attention, things that didn't quite fit the picture of the modest life Ethan seemed to lead. It started with the subtle luxury of his wristwatch, one that glimmered quietly against his skin. She had noticed it the first morning she saw him in their home, dismissing it as nothing at the time. But then there were the letters she occasionally glimpsed, embossed with fancy logos she couldn't recognize, and the phone calls he took in private, his voice shifting from casual warmth to a crisp, professional tone that didn't match the friendly man she knew. One afternoon, while Ethan was out running errands, Emily decided to reorganize the small study corner he used. She moved papers carefully, not wanting to disturb him, when a folder slipped from the top of a shelf and fell to the floor. She picked it up, her heart skipping a beat when she saw the embossed gold letters on the folder. Sterling Enterprises. Curiosity overpowered hesitation. Emily opened the folder just a crack and peeked inside. The pages were filled with documents she didn't fully understand. Contracts, bank statements, property listings. And then she saw it, numbers and properties so vast they seemed unreal. Her hands trembled as she realized the truth forming in her mind. Could it be? When Ethan returned home, Emily tried to appear calm, slipping the folder back into the drawer. But his sharp gaze caught her as she moved about the room. "You've been busy," he said casually, though she sensed the subtle question in his tone. Emily forced a smile. "Just organizing. Thought it might help you." Ethan nodded, taking her hand gently. "I appreciate that." His eyes softened, but Emily noticed a fleeting shadow of something unspoken. That evening, as they prepared dinner together, Emily found herself stealing glances at him, trying to reconcile the man she knew with the possibilities she had glimpsed in the documents. The cozy laughter, the quiet moments by the river, the tender kisses. How did they fit with a world of immense wealth and power? "Ethan, can I ask you something?" she finally said, voice tentative. He paused, meeting her gaze. "Of course." Emily hesitated. "Some things I've noticed, little hints that you might live a life that's bigger than this. Is that true?" Ethan froze for a heartbeat, then smiled gently, brushing her hand. "Emily, there are parts of my life I haven't shared yet. It's not because I don't trust you. It's because I wanted you to see me first, not my wealth. You've fallen in love with me, not the life I live." Emily's mind raced. She wanted answers, but she also wanted to trust him. I just don't understand." "I'll explain everything, I promise," he said softly. "But right now, I need you to know that you are my priority. Nothing else matters as much as us." Emily nodded, though uncertainty lingered. Deep down, she knew her life with Ethan was about to change forever. And though questions swirled, one thing remained clear. Her feelings for him were real, and they were about to be tested in ways she could never imagine. The afternoon sun filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow over their living room. Emily was tidying up when she noticed Ethan's laptop sitting open on the small desk. Curiosity gnawed at her, fueled by the unusual hints she had noticed over the past days. She approached it cautiously, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. For a moment, doubt held her back. I shouldn't invade his privacy. But before she could step away, a notification popped up on the screen. Sterling Enterprises, board meeting agenda. Her heart raced. Sterling Enterprises, the name she had glimpsed in the folder last week. Against her better judgment, she clicked the document. The screen filled with details of investments, properties, and contracts that were far beyond anything a modest life in Willow Creek could afford. Then she saw a photograph. A press release showing Ethan standing in a suit at the opening of a luxury hotel. The kind of building she had only seen in magazines. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled through more photos, each one confirming the impossible. Ethan wasn't just successful. He was a billionaire. Shock flooded her senses. She dropped the laptop, stepping back as the room seemed to spin. How could he keep this from me? How could he live this secret life while pretending to be ordinary? Ethan appeared in the doorway at that exact moment, a calm expression on his face, but Emily could see the tension in his posture. "You've seen it," he said softly, his voice steady but filled with concern. Emily's voice quivered. I don't understand. All this time, you've been hiding this from me? The life you live, the money, the power." Ethan stepped closer, carefully taking her hands. "Emily, please listen. I never wanted to deceive you. I wanted you to fall in love with me, the real me. Not the wealth, not the status, not the things I own. You came into my life, and I realized that love, trust, and connection mattered more than anything else. That's why I kept it hidden, until I knew I could share it with you." Tears welled in Emily's eyes, mixing confusion with hurt and disbelief. "But why? Why lie? Don't you trust me?" "I trust you more than anyone," Ethan said earnestly. "I just wanted to protect you from a world that can be overwhelming. I didn't want my wealth to change the way you see me, or the way we start our life together." Emily's mind raced, torn between anger, shock, and the deep love she still felt for him. "All this time you've been living a lie. How can I trust this now?" Ethan drew her closer, his voice gentle but firm. "You can trust us. Trust what we have. I'm still the same man you fell in love with, the man who laughed with you, walked with you, and dreamed with you. This wealth, it's just a part of me, not the heart I gave to you." Emily's chest heaved as she tried to absorb the revelation. The man she loved, the man she had married, was living a double life. Yet the sincerity in his eyes convinced her of one undeniable truth. Ethan's love for her was real. But even with that realization, she knew the path ahead would be complicated. Trust had been shaken, and now, their love would be tested in ways neither of them could yet predict. The evening air was cool, carrying the scent of the river and the village gardens. Emily stood in the middle of their modest living room, her arms crossed and eyes glistening with a mix of hurt and disbelief. Ethan approached cautiously, his expression a blend of concern and regret. "Emily, please," he said softly. "Let me explain." Emily took a shaky breath, her voice trembling. "Explain? Ethan, you lied to me. All this time you weren't the man I thought I married. You're a billionaire." Ethan held up his hands in a calming gesture. "I know it feels like a betrayal, and I would never blame you for being upset. But please hear me out. I didn't tell you because I wanted you to know me for who I really am. Not for my money, not for my lifestyle, not for the life I've built that's separate from this village." Emily shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. "How am I supposed to feel? How do I even process this? Everything we've shared. Was that even real? Or was it part of some game?" Ethan stepped closer, gently cupping her face in his hands. "It was real, Emily. Every laugh, every walk, every dream we shared. It was all real. I didn't hide my life to manipulate you. I hid it because I love you. I wanted you to fall for me, not my wealth. I wanted our love to be genuine." Emily pulled back slightly, her chest heaving. But why didn't you trust me with this? Don't you see how much this shakes everything? How can I believe you didn't just pretend to be something you're not? Ethan's eyes softened, full of unwavering sincerity. Because I didn't want you to see the world I come from and think it defines me or us. I wanted our love to start on equal ground, not influenced by money or status. I wanted to protect you from the pressure, the scrutiny, and the distractions that come with my life. Emily stared at him, trying to reconcile the man she knew with the man she had just discovered. Her heart still beat fiercely for him, but the sting of deception lingered. It's just a lot to take in. I don't even know if I can trust this now. Ethan lowered his forehead to hers, his voice a soft plea. Trust me, Emily. I chose you every single day, and I will continue to choose you. My wealth doesn't change who I am with you. It doesn't change my love for you. It only means we'll face new challenges together, and I want you by my side for all of them. Emily felt the raw honesty in his words, the warmth of his touch, and the unwavering gaze that held her heart captive. Slowly, she let a deep breath escape, the anger and confusion battling with the love that had grown between them over months of laughter, dreams, and shared moments. I need time, she whispered, her voice breaking. I love you, Ethan, but I need to understand all of this. Ethan nodded, holding her gently. Take all the time you need. I'll be here always. And when you're ready, we'll face everything together. Truth, wealth, and all. For the first time that day, Emily felt a flicker of calm. Their bond had been tested, shaken to its core, but love, real, resilient love, still lingered between them, ready to guide them through the uncertain path ahead. The morning sunlight filtered softly through the curtains, but Emily felt no warmth. She sat at the small kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a cup of tea that had long gone cold. The house, once filled with laughter and shared dreams, now felt heavy with silence. Ethan moved around quietly, careful not to disturb her, though the tension between them was palpable. Emily's mind raced with questions, doubts, and unspoken fears. How could he hide something so huge from me? How can I trust him now? Each small act of affection from Ethan, his gentle touch, his soft words, felt distant, overshadowed by the revelation of his secret billionaire life. Ethan finally spoke, his voice careful, measured. Emily, I know this is hard. I understand if you're angry, or confused, or both. Emily looked up, her eyes filled with hurt. Angry doesn't even begin to cover it, Ethan. I feel deceived. Everything we shared, everything I thought I knew about you. It's like I was living a half-truth. Ethan sat across from her, leaning forward. I never wanted to hurt you. The last thing I ever wanted was for you to feel like I wasn't being honest. I hid my wealth because I wanted our love to be genuine, Emily, not based on money or influence or appearances. I wanted you, not a version of you shaped by what I could provide. Emily's hands shook slightly as she took a sip of tea. But love is about trust, Ethan. And how am I supposed to trust you when you've hidden something so fundamental? What else are you keeping from me? Ethan reached across the table, gently placing his hand over hers. Nothing else matters. I swear it. You are my priority. My life outside this house doesn't define us. It's us, together, that matters. I should have told you sooner, but I wanted to wait until I could explain everything properly, without distractions, without fear of judgment. Emily's gaze dropped to their intertwined hands, her emotions a tangle of frustration, love, and lingering doubt. She wanted to believe him. She needed to believe him, but the shock of the secret still burned like a fresh wound. I love you, Ethan, she whispered, her voice barely audible. But right now, I don't know if love is enough. I need to process this. I need to know that the person I married, the person I trust, is the same person who stands in front of me. Ethan nodded solemnly, his thumb brushing her knuckles. I understand. Take all the time you need. I'll wait. I'll prove to you that nothing, no secret, no wealth, no mistake, will ever change how I feel about you. You're the only person I want by my side for the rest of my life. Emily closed her eyes, letting his words sink in. The anger and confusion still lingered, but beneath it, a spark of trust remained. It was fragile, uncertain, but it was there. A reminder that love could endure even the most shocking revelations, if nurtured with honesty, patience, and understanding. For the first time that day, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could overcome this together. The late afternoon sunlight bathed the village in a golden glow, filtering through the curtains as Ethan and Emily sat together on the small porch. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and freshly tilled earth, yet the weight of unspoken tension hung between them. Ethan reached for Emily's hands, his touch gentle but firm. "Emily," he began softly, "I know it hasn't been easy since you discovered my secret. I know I hurt you, and I can't apologize enough for that." Emily looked away, her fingers tightening around his. "It's not just about the secret, Ethan. It's about trust. About feeling like everything I believed in might not have been real." Ethan nodded solemnly, his gaze unwavering. "I understand, and I want to be completely honest with you now, with no walls, no secrets." He took a deep breath. "I come from a world that's complicated. Wealth, business, responsibilities. It's a life that could have overwhelmed us both, and I wanted to protect you from that pressure. I wanted our love to be genuine, built on who we are, not what I own. That's why I hid it." Emily's eyes glistened with tears, a mix of hurt and lingering affection. "But why didn't you trust me? I could have handled it, Ethan. I could have faced it with you." Ethan's voice softened, tinged with regret. "I know that now. I thought I was protecting you, but I see that hiding it has caused more pain than it would have prevented. I made a mistake, Emily, and I am so sorry for the doubt and hurt it caused you." Emily searched his eyes, looking for the man she fell in love with, the man who had walked with her through laughter, dreams, and small village joys. She saw him there, stripped of pretense, vulnerable and sincere. I don't want to lose what we have," she whispered. "I love you, Ethan, but I need to feel like we're partners in everything. Secrets, even if meant to protect, break trust." Ethan nodded, brushing a tear from her cheek. "You're right. From now on, no more secrets, no more walls. You will know everything, and we'll face it all together. I want you to be part of every aspect of my life, not just the simple parts. I love you, Emily, more than anything. You are my heart, my home, and my future." Emily felt a wave of warmth and relief wash over her. The pain of betrayal lingered, but the honesty, the vulnerability, and the unwavering love in Ethan's words began to rebuild the bridge between them. She leaned into him, resting her head against his shoulder. "I love you too, Ethan," she murmured, her voice steady. "And I want us to face everything together, even the parts one didn't expect." Ethan hugged her gently, holding her close. "We will. And no matter what challenges come, wealth, family, or the world, we'll face them side by side. You are my choice, Emily. Always." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Emily and Ethan sat in quiet embrace, their hearts slowly healing, and a renewed sense of trust and love blooming between them. They knew that the journey ahead would have obstacles, but together, they were stronger than any secret or challenge life could throw at them. The following morning, Emily and Ethan were enjoying a rare moment of peace in their small garden when a sleek black car rolled slowly down the village's dirt road. The hum of the engine was unusual in the quiet of Willow Creek, and Emily instinctively felt a twinge of unease. Ethan noticed it too. "Stay calm, Emily. I'll handle this." The car stopped, and a sharply dressed man stepped out, his expression a mix of arrogance and calculation. He carried a briefcase and exuded an air of authority that immediately set Emily on edge. "Mr. Sterling?" the man called, his tone formal and slightly condescending. Ethan stood, his posture calm but firm. "Yes, how can I help you?" The man flashed a sly smile.
"I'm Richard Caldwell."
"I represent some interested parties regarding your business dealings." It seems we have a difference of opinion that requires immediate attention. Emily's heart skipped a beat. Business dealings? What is he talking about? Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Emily, just stay calm. I'll handle this. You don't need to get involved. Yet. Richard's gaze flicked to Emily, a faint smirk crossing his face. Ah, so this is the lovely Mrs. Sterling. I've heard quite a bit about you. Ethan stepped slightly in front of her, protective and unwavering. Emily is not involved in my work. I suggest you direct your concerns to me only. Richard chuckled lightly. Of course, Mr. Sterling. But I must warn you, some of the agreements you've made could lead to complications. Legal, financial, and personal. Emily's stomach twisted with worry. She felt a surge of fear for their peaceful life, wondering how her husband's hidden world might now disrupt everything they had built together. Ethan's eyes narrowed, his calm demeanor replaced by a sharp focus that Emily had never seen before. I appreciate your warning, but let me make one thing clear. I will not let anyone jeopardize my family, my life, or the woman I love. If there are issues, I will resolve them, but I expect no games, no threats, and no disrespect. Richard's smile faded, replaced by a cool, calculating stare. Very well, but consider this a first notice. The stakes are higher than you realize, and the choices you make now could have lasting consequences. With that, he returned to his car, leaving Emily and Ethan standing in silence. The hum of the engine faded, replaced by the soft rustling of the garden leaves. Emily turned to Ethan, her voice shaky. Ethan, what was that? Who is he? And what did he mean by stakes? Ethan wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. It's complicated, Emily, but you need to trust me. I've faced challenges like this before, and I'll handle it. We'll face it together, just like we promised. Emily nodded slowly, her fear mingling with admiration. Despite the looming threat, she realized one thing. She wasn't facing it alone. Together, she and Ethan could navigate whatever came their way. Yet deep down, both knew this was just the beginning. A challenge that would test their love, trust, and resilience like never before. The city hall was buzzing with activity, reporters and onlookers gathering for the announcement that could impact Ethan's business empire. Emily walked beside him, her hand firmly in his, her presence steady and unwavering. Gone was the shy, uncertain bride from Willow Creek. Today, she was his partner in every sense of the word. Ethan paused at the podium, adjusting his tie as cameras flashed. He glanced at Emily, drawing strength from her calm, confident gaze. Thank you for coming, he began, his voice strong and commanding. There have been questions about my work, my decisions, and my life outside this room. I am here today to address them, but I'm not here alone. Emily stepped forward, her voice ringing clear across the room. I stand with Ethan Sterling, she said firmly. I know the man he is. I know the integrity, the dedication, and the love he carries in everything he does. His wealth and status do not define him, his character does. And I trust him, completely. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Cameras clicked rapidly, capturing her statement, and Ethan's eyes softened with pride. He hadn't expected this, but her words carried power. Honest, unwavering, and fearless. Ethan took a deep breath, letting her support fuel his resolve. Emily is right, he continued. The work I do is not just about wealth or influence. It's about responsibility, trust, and the people who matter most to me. And she is one of them. My anchor, my partner, my life. The crowd fell silent, absorbing the strength of their bond. Even the stern-faced investors and critics couldn't help but respect the unity and conviction between them. Emily squeezed his hand, a silent message. We are together, no matter what. After the announcement, as they stepped away from the podium, reporters swarmed, asking questions and snapping photos. But Ethan and Emily moved as one, a team built on trust, love, and now, shared courage. Later, as they walked through the gardens outside the building, Ethan let out a quiet laugh. You surprised me today. I didn't know you had that kind of courage. Emily smiled, leaning into him. I surprised myself too, but seeing how you handle everything, I realized I could be stronger than I thought. I'm with you, Ethan. Always. Ethan kissed her forehead softly. And that's exactly why we'll overcome any challenge. Together, we're unstoppable. Emily nodded, her heart full. She had stepped into Ethan's world, faced its challenges, and shown the love and loyalty that would carry them through the trials ahead. For the first time, she felt truly part of his life. Wealth, influence, and all without fear or hesitation. The sun dipped low, casting a golden glow over the couple, a symbol of their unity, courage, and love that had been tested and had emerged stronger than ever. The tension was thick in the boardroom. Ethan sat at the head of the table, Emily standing beside him, her presence calm and reassuring. Richard Caldwell, the rival who had previously threatened Ethan's empire, loomed across from them, exuding confidence as if he already expected victory. You've made quite a name for yourself, Mr. Sterling, Richard began, leaning back in his chair. But your recent decisions have raised concerns among my clients and associates. I'm here to ensure that you either comply or face the consequences. Ethan's jaw tightened, his eyes flicking to Emily for a moment of grounding. She gave him a small nod, her confidence radiating silently. Richard, Ethan said, voice firm, I respect your position, but I will not compromise my values or the people I care about, and that includes my wife, my family, and my team. Any threats will be met with transparency and integrity, not fear. Emily stepped forward, her voice steady. We've heard your concerns, but the people you're trying to intimidate don't work for you, they work with us. Ethan's decisions are thoughtful, responsible, and for the greater good. If you think threatening us will sway anything, you're mistaken. Richard's smirk faltered slightly. He exchanged a glance with his legal advisor, sensing that the couple's unity was stronger than he had anticipated. Over the next hour, Ethan and Emily worked seamlessly together. She presented evidence of ethical business practices, spoke to the human side of Ethan's leadership, and demonstrated the depth of their joint commitment to integrity. Ethan addressed financial and operational details, calmly refuting every accusation with clarity and authority. At one point, Richard leaned forward, attempting a sharp counterargument. But Emily, anticipating the move, interjected with a confident explanation that left the room in silent admiration. For the first time, Richard realized that Emily was not just a supportive spouse. She was a strategic partner. Finally, after tense negotiations and careful presentation, Richard slumped in his chair, frustration and defeat evident. It seems I underestimated you both, he admitted. Very well. Consider this matter resolved. For now. Ethan exhaled deeply, turning to Emily. You were incredible. I couldn't have done this without you. Emily smiled, though exhaustion softened her features. We did this together. That's what matters. No one can take down what we've built if we stand united. Outside the boardroom, the city lights flickered as the evening descended. Emily and Ethan walked hand in hand through the quiet streets, their steps lighter, their hearts full. They had faced a threat that could have shattered their trust, and yet they had overcome it side by side. Ethan pulled her close, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Today proved something important. No matter what comes, as long as we're together, we can face anything. Emily rested her head against his chest. I know, and I trust us. Completely. For the first time since the revelation of his secret, Emily felt fully integrated into Ethan's world. Wealth, power, and all. Together, they were not just a couple in love. They were an unbreakable team, ready for whatever life had in store. The sun rose over Willow Creek, casting golden light across the village that had once been Emily's entire world. But today, her world had expanded far beyond the familiar fields and rivers. She stood beside Ethan on the veranda of their newly renovated home, a beautiful blend of village charm and modern elegance, and felt a sense of peace she had never known. Can you believe it? Ethan asked, smiling as he wrapped an arm around her waist. From a quiet village life to all this. Emily laughed softly, leaning into him. It's surreal, but it feels right. With you, everything feels right. Their journey had not been easy. Secrets, shock, doubts, and threats had tested their love. Yet through it all, they had emerged stronger, united in trust, respect, and a bond that no wealth or challenge could break. The couple walked through the gardens, where flowers bloomed in vibrant colors. Villagers who had once known Emily's humble beginnings now visited, curious about her life. But she welcomed them warmly, showing that she had not forgotten her roots. Ethan walked beside her, proud of how gracefully she had embraced both worlds. The simple life they had shared and the complex life they now navigated together. As they entered the home, a small celebration awaited. Friends, family, and even business partners gathered, a testament to the life they had built side by side. Laughter and joy filled the room, blending seamlessly with the quiet moments of intimacy and understanding between Emily and Ethan. Emily glanced at Ethan, her eyes shining. "I used to think love was just about feelings," she said softly. "But now I know it's about partnership, trust, and facing everything together, no matter what." Ethan took her hands in his voice filled with emotion. "Emily, you've shown me that love is not just about wealth or appearances. It's about courage, loyalty, and the willingness to stand together through every challenge. I promise to spend every day proving that our love is unshakable." They shared a long, tender embrace, knowing that the trials of the past had only strengthened what they held for each other. The future was theirs, full of possibilities, adventures, and shared dreams. As the camera pans out, the couple is seen laughing and dancing lightly under the glow of hanging lights, their joy infectious. The once quiet village now buzzed with life and optimism, reflecting the transformation not just in Emily and Ethan's lives, but in the world they had created together. And to you, our viewers, love, trust, and courage can overcome even the most unexpected challenges. Stand by the ones you love, face life's obstacles together, and never underestimate the power of honesty and loyalty. If you enjoyed Emily and Ethan's journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support more inspiring stories. Comment below where you're watching from, and let us know your favorite moment from their journey. Your story matters too.